So another month has come and gone, and with it, that's right, my commoner friends, another commoner crawl, and this one was super special because on the line was a beautiful pint glass trophy made by none other than Mr. Commoner Crawl Sean Cowan himself, up for grabs for the big winner. So in today's episode, I'm going to be recapping the event, going through the top 4 deck lists, and of course, announcing the individual who took home that beautiful, beautiful trophy. Oh, God, you should never do that to a dark beer. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood commoner friends. Welcome back to the channel, and as I choked down my poor attempt at a little bit of comedy and brevity into the intro, we will move into today's Dice Commando video, coming to you on a Thursday because we had the BNS stuff on Tuesday, so I wanted to give us a little break to digest everything. Plus, I didn't want to shoot a video every single day this week. So here we are on a Thursday covering commoner crawl stuff, and fair enough. So what I have up here, we don't often do this, and we should do it more, but we took a picture of everyone at the event. We only had, we really had 8 individuals because we had Coda with us, which was, let's be honest, the coolest individual there. But hey, when you have a dog-friendly brew pub, dogs do come, and we do love doggos here on Dice Commando. So yeah, we only had 7 individuals come out. Now that may sound obvious. I really enjoyed this one because there's not really an A. I really enjoyed this one because we only ended up running 3 rounds, which is very abnormal for us. Sometimes we run upwards of 5. But we basically sat around for like an hour and a half chatting because folks had budgeted more time. And I think I had more fun just hanging out with these folks, these good folks. But let's get into the flesh and blood stuff. So the top 4 from this event was myself. I took it down with Betsy. In second place, we had Anthony Galleran on his tried and true and trusted Fi, although that's actually not true. He made quite a bit of edits when I actually think he made some really exciting edits. I'm actually more excited about his deck list than I am my own. In third place, we had Mr. Kevin Set on Riptide. That's right, Mr. Kevin's been traveling, so he ran the exact same deck he did last time and continued to do what he needed to do. And then in fourth place was Mr. Sean himself on a Briar list. And Sean and I, we are independently, and I think we need to collab because we've been working on making Briar work. And I think he's onto something, and I think I'm onto something, but I think our powers need to combine Captain Planet to make this work. So we will see, and we will maybe work on that going into the next month. So without further ado, let's go into Mr. Sean's. It's almost like I had a lead in there. It's almost like I planned that. I promise you I didn't. Let's go into Mr. Sean's Briar list. So he was running Adult Briar, which he took a lot of flack for the day. Obviously, he was not on Adult. He's on Reaping Blade. He's on Blade Beckoner, Gauntlets and Helm, as well as the boots. He is running Blossom of Spring. He's on Dichotomy, Runehold Release, Null Rune Boots, and then the gloves. So quite a bit of sideboard options there for him, of course, depending on which matchup he wants to go into. Now, going into the main board, he's on Arcanic Shockwave Red-Blue, Full Boat of Ball Lightning. Side note, I think this is where our lists deviate because I've actually started to not like Ball Lightning as much. But again, Ball Lightning can do what it can do, and the blue Ball Lightning is pretty good. Red Ball Lightning is pretty good too, just not the yellow. Right, blue Come to Fight, red Electrify, red Electrostatic Discharge, Entwine Lightning, Fry, Heaven's Claws blue, Inspire Lightning. This was his tricky play. I was explaining to him that I think functionally there's an argument for the card out of the First Strike deck, which is, I believe, Harness Lightning. There's Lightning Surge red, Nimblism red, Photon Rush red, and then Ravenous Rabble. Scar for a Scar, Sizzles, Spark Spray red out of the Aurora Armory deck, and then we have Trot Along blue, Arcane Polarity, and Oasis Respite for the sideboard options. So you do notice that there is a distinct lack of poppers in this particular deck. I do think there are some good options, but you also notice that Mr. Sean, probably very painfully, because he was one of the originators in our area of the Stirring My Wildwood type deck, but has definitely leaned off of that, going for a pure lightning build. So Sean, nicely played. Him and I actually met in round 1, and I do think things may have been different over the course of the day had we not met round 1. But that's the gem roulette, my friends. All right, moving into Mr. Kevin's deck. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly because it is exactly the same card for card as the one we viewed last month. But he is on Infecting Shot Red, Murkmire. So he spreads them out, obviously, so you can see those Siggies, which is pretty cool. But he's on Murkmire Red, Virulent Touch Red, and then we're on Infecting Shot Blue, Nip of the Heels Blue, Blood Rot Trap, Withering Shot, Scar for Scar, Sick'em Shot, Nimblism, Withering Blue, Widowmaker Blue, which remember, that's not super effective because if you can throw 0 block armor in front of it, it still counts as a card. Red Frailty Track, Sedation Shot, Falcon Wing, Salvage Shot. You got to make sure you block those, otherwise Riptide you can't fatigue Riptide, which by the way, that is what I ended up having to flip to mid-game in order to, I played Kevin as well. I had to flip mid-game in order to be able to fatigue him out. That was the only play I had. He was in front of me, and I couldn't get in front, and I just had to start throwing stuff in front and mitigate it best I could. Scout to Periphery is a nice little include. Sedation Shot Blue. It's on Sync and Fate, and then Inertia Trap. So fair number of traps in there, considering the environment. Then he's on Barb Castaway and the Quiver, and then his loadout is Snappies, Blossom, Bullseye's Bracers, and then Blade Beckoner, Helm. Now running into, that's right, my round 3 opponent. So 4th place was my first round, 3rd place was my second round, and 2nd place was my 3rd round. This is Anthony's Fi. I was scared S-less, because hey, I wanted that Bind Glass Man, but I was scared S-less to run up against Anthony. Anthony, hell of a player. He's also very innovative and creative and picks up a lot of stuff. And that's why I think that today's deck is certainly the highlight. So he's on an Emberblade Fi, but he also has Kodachis, right? So he's able to actually flex back and forth depending on his matchup, which is really pretty hot. Okay, now he sat down against me versus Emberblade, which, I know that to be his primary build, but I know that he also has Kodachis in there for what he needs them to do. Okay, so let's look at the left side there for the loadout, which is eating up a lot of his sideboard space. Okay, so we're on Vesta First Fist, Mask of Three Tails, of course, the kitty package. He's on Nullrune Robe, Gloves, and Flippers, so he has AB3, and then that basically rounds it out with the Kodachis. Okay, now if we move into his main deck, we're looking at we're looking at a number of non-draconic cards, being first Tenic Strike. This one's really, really, really cool because it gives your next Draconic +1, but it's also a red to do what you need to do. He's on Tooth of the Dragon, which I had always just identified as a Fang card myself, but it was super effective because he was able to come there was a couple times he came Ember, I think twice he came Emberblade one time he came Emberblade for 6, the next was on his Phoenix Flame. Sexy. Love it. Grow Claws is the one that I had highly underestimated. This one coming in for potentially a 5. Pretty good. Cinderskin Devotion, that's with the block. Of course, Blaze Headlong. His one Phoenix Flame. Soaring Strike, Lava Burst, Ronin Renegade, Dust Runner Outlaw. Don't see that one a lot. Rising Renegade Red and Blue, Bittering Thorns, of course. Salt to Wound ×2, Rabble ×2, Lava Vein, Red Blue, Brand Red Blue, not the yellow, right? Again, that's something with the Kodachis. A lot of people usually run yellow, but again, he was on an Emberblade. We're on Soulbleed Strike. That's like a bread and butter fight card because it gets the go again on hit, plus it's a blue, everything you want it to be. Then 1 Pouncing She, 2 Arcane Polarities. The Pouncing She obviously is to pair with the kitty turn, right? Makes a lot of sense there. So this deck I thought was really, really cool just with some of the edge includes. Grow Claws actually really impressed me. Tenet was on, Tenet's kind of like I wouldn't say a windmill slam, but it's a pretty good include in most of these. But Tooth of Dragonclaw, very interesting as well. Of course, he has the EAs there, those Sessy gem packs. All right, now we're going to run through my deck relatively quickly. I'm going to be doing a kind of I'll link it up here, but I'm doing a full recap just for my team members, not only on the recap, but what I would change. The TLDR, I didn't have a lot of fun. It was kind of my bread and butter in terms of pump and thump Betsy, or pumping up Guardian. Betsy, I think, just does it better. But there's some things I just didn't like about this that I think I can optimize to maybe make me have more fun. because I didn't really like the on-off thing. But anyway, I'll go through that in the video and I'll propose the changes going forward. So what you can see there is I have the Japanese cards. Those are 3 null runes, which I only had to use one of them throughout the day for I took AB1 into Sean. I have Arcane Polarity ×2, Oasis Respite ×2. We then have Civic Steps, Blade Beckoner, Plating, and then Goliath Gauntlet on top of, you can see my CS. I've got the Marvel, Betsy, the Good Time Chapeau, and then Anathos. Those are all either Marvel or in cold foil. Then I have, unfortunately, with the glare, I didn't realize that when I took it, but we have the 2 big Betsy thumps. We have Bigger Than Big and whatever the heck the other one was. I'll put it over the screen in editing. My apologies. Then you go into my defenses, which is Fate, Sync, and then Test of Strength, which is a block. We have Crusts Are Weak. There was no way I wasn't bringing that because of the number of people like Phi who run 3s or lesses. That applies both to the Assassins and to Phi primarily. Money Where Your Mouth Is for the obvious Anathos thing. Pummel on Anathos is insane. In general, your goal is to pummel on Anathos here in this format because a lot of times you're not able to do it quite as well with what you want to do with Thump, because remember they can react to Thump on the Dominate before it resolves. Macho, of course, we have Concuss for the Pump Thump build. And then going into the blues, we've got Debilitate, Thunk, Chokeslam, and then Battlefront Bastion is something that I include in Commoner now specifically for Kodachis because it's extremely, extremely effective against Kodachis. And then, of course, we have at the very end there, we have Lunging Press and Buckling Blow. And then the morning of include, I had one slot that I was warbling on and I decided to take it in the morning, and I'm very glad I did, which is Zealous Belting. So I was very glad I took that. That's kind of more of an Anathos play than it is a Pump and Thump play, but I thought that with the way that things were maybe going to go, Zealous would be better, and I did not regret leaving home without it. So there you have it, friends. One more time. Let's not do the gargle thing this time. But cheers to all my commoner folks out there. Sean, again, thank you for organizing and doing your thing. Remember, everybody, Travis over at Fab Foundry is our partner. Also had some pretty awesome Japanese hunted packs, which was pretty cool. I had no opened hunted in like 2 months. So that was kind of fun to get a couple packs of that. And everybody went ham on that. But, you know, when things aren't on the shelves, that's the way it goes, right? But anyway, in a more positive light, thanks, everyone. Let me know what you're thinking below. Remember, smash the likes, the subs. Let me know the engagement on the commenter videos. And go Commando.